In this video, I'll demonstrate how to use Burp Suite to perform broken authentication attacks. To start Burp Suite, I go to the menu in Kali Linux, select Web Application Analysis, and Burp Suite. Just going to launch a temporary project in memory, use Burp Suite defaults, and start Burp. Then from the top bar, I'm going to select Proxy, Intercept On, and Open Browser. So this will launch the pre-configured Chrome browser that's connected to Burp Suite. And I'll type in 192.168.2.244, which is the web service running on my network that I'd like to intercept. Now, as soon as I enter something in the browser, it switches back to Burp Suite because it's intercepted the request. Now, I'd like to forward this, and that allows the browser to continue on. So it forwards the request or the response back to the browser after the request was made. So every time I click something, it'll go back to Burp Suite, show me the request, and ask me what I'd like to do. And for normal requests, things that we don't care about intercepting, things that we want to allow to continue, we just click forward, and that continues it on. Go back to the browser. You could always leave intercept off for the things you don't care about. Get to the page you want to intercept. And in this case, the login page, I'm using a software called Vulnerabilities. So this is an intentionally vulnerable web application running under Metasploitable. So these are good for learning pen testing tools, these intentionally vulnerable environments. The good thing is, in a lot of ways, default setups on most regular operating system installs are relatively secure to begin with. They're easy to update, and they get the latest patches and security updates. So it takes a bit of work to get a vulnerable machine, especially when you're trying to demonstrate a particular vulnerability. That's where tools like Vulnerabilities and Metasploitable come in handy. They're easy to download and get started with. At this point is where intercept becomes important. When I put in a name and a password, hit enter, that's where I want to be intercepting. So I'll turn intercept back on, go back to the browser, and try this login again. So I'll type admin and admin, and we get a failed response. But it's good to see what's being sent, so we can look at the request that's going to be sent. Username equals admin and password equals admin. And so all the form information that's being sent by the browser is captured by Burp Suite. I'll hit forward and let the request go through. And I can look at the HTTP history. It will show the post and the result. And if I look in the result, I can see all of the page information that gets rendered by the browser. And in the browser, I haven't had a successful login, so it says not logged in. I'm going to put in the correct name and password this time. I'm still intercepting, so it should go back to Burp Suite. So it does. And if I look at the intercept, it has the information. I hit forward and then forward again. So let it do its complete thing. I don't want to save it. So here it shows me I'm logged in as admin. And what I'd like to do is go back to my history and look at some of the information that's contained in the request. So the final GET request to reload the page after I've logged in shows a new cookie being set. So there's a username, admin, and a PHP sesh ID. This is not entirely uncommon. However, with cookies, you can edit them. So I could go into the cookie, change the UID to another number. So what I'll do is go back to the browser, hit refresh. Intercept stops the request, and it shows me the request that's going to be sent by the browser. So I'm holding on to it. And what I'm going to do before it sends it back to the server, I'm going to go in and change some of this information. I'm going to change the UID in the cookie from 1 to 3. And then forward. So it's going to continue the request, but with my modified interception. So when I forward it, go back to the browser, you can see logged in user is no longer admin, but it's set to John. So this is the user ID of ID 3, which means the authentication method is broken. We've bypassed the authentication, and this allows us to set any user, as long as we know the user ID, And if I reload the page again, you can see now it still goes back to UID1, but I can keep changing this. I can change it to something else. Let's go 2 this time. You can see logged in admin, Adrian. This type of vulnerability is common, and a tool like Burp Suite makes it easy to discover. And that concludes this demonstration of performing a broken authentication attack using Burp Suite.